my name is Angela and I'm a child life volunteer, and today I'm going to be walking you all through a quick and easy tutorial on how to draw one of my favorite Disney characters, Stitch. And by the end of this tutorial, you should have a little Stitch character that looks just like this. So for this tutorial, all you're going to need is a blank sheet of paper. It can be any color you want, white, your favorite color, blue is mine. It could be the surface of a paper plate, whatever you have around you, you can use. And then in terms of coloring utensils, for this tutorial I'll be using crayons just because I find them really fun and easy to use, but you can use colored pens, markers, colored pencils, anything you want, anything you have around you is going to work perfectly fine. And for this tutorial, I cannot claim the steps as my own. However, it is my favorite way that I've learned to doodle stitch, and so that's why I want to share it with you today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's get started. So I have my blank sheet of paper here, and I'm going to start with a black crayon, and I'm going to make a dome shape, kind of like a hill, or an upside down U. And I'm going to connect the two ends with a curved line. This is Stitch's head. You can see that it's not perfectly round. And then we're going to go in with his nose. So this is going to be another U, except right side up, and connect the two ends with a curved line, just like the head but upside down. And now we're going to go in with his eyes. So they're just these two big circles right next to his nose. Stitch has got some big eyes. And then we're going to put a straight line from the middle of each eye across the face. But don't worry, because we're adding some curves to the end of those lines to give him a little smile, and I like to add dimples at the end of his smile. And then we're putting in two little circles at the right corner of his eyes, and that's just going to represent the shine in his eyes, so it's going to kind of be reminiscent of light hitting his eyes, causing them to be shiny. And right now I'm just coloring in the rest of his eye except for that circle we made, so that the shine is really going to pop. It'll make a lot more sense, especially when we color Stitch in completely, so don't even worry. And then from here I'm making two little nostrils at the bottom of his nose, just like you see right there. They're just some curved lines. And then I'm just going to put some more rounded lines over his eyes to represent his eyebrows. So just one big eyebrow over each eye and then a little wrinkle over it. And going along with that, we're going to add two wrinkles over his nose just like that. And they're just simple curved lines. And then from here, another curved line and a zigzag. And that'll just represent his hair sticking up on the top of his head. Now the ears. So what we're going to do is make a backwards J, and on this side, an actual J, on each side of his head. And then we're going to round it over. On this ear we have a little notch, so you'll see it right here. And then we'll just finish off the ear by curving it around. Kind of looks like a banana. And then on this ear he has a notch, but it's closer to the bottom of it. So we're going to continue our curve, our little banana on his ear, and you'll see I added that notch right there and just connected the rest of the ear to the head. Now we're going to make his ear 3D by adding some folds. So these are just some curved lines following the shape of his ear, right to the middle of his head. And you can tell it kind of looks like his ear's folded over. And then for this fold on this ear, that's just going to end right at that notch. Perfect. Now we're going to begin with his body. First I put a little line going from his nose to his mouth. So these two, you're just going to make two short lines, just like I did right here. That's his neck. And from here we're going to make some teardrop shapes. Just like that. These are his arms. They don't have to be perfect. Mine for sure aren't, but that's the beauty of coloring. And then that curved line connecting the arms, that's just his body. And then I'm making some V shapes for his claws. Very soft claws. Stitch doesn't have sharp claws. Just like that, 3 on each side. And now I'm making some sort of C shapes on both sides of his body. These are his feet. Inside his feet, we're adding 2 circles on each side. These are the soles of his feet. And then we're going to have a curved line connecting the foot to the body. Those are just his knees sitting in the background. And on top of each foot, you'll see that I'm drawing 4 claws on each foot, just like that. Some soft rounded V's, just like we did for his hands, and he has 4 on each side. And then to finish him off, we are going to make a little zigzag in the middle of his chest, and that's just going to give some more definition and show his hair on his chest. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the base of our Stitch sketch. Pretty simple. This is all you need to do. And from here, I'm just going to take my colored crayons. You can use whatever colors you want, get creative with it, and start coloring him in. In this, you'll see as I go, it is sped up, but I'm using a dark blue crayon. For some of the little details, I'm using a regular blue crayon for his body, the majority of his body. And then I'm using a light blue crayon for some more little details, and pink for the inside of his ears. And like I said, you can get creative with this. It's completely up to you, but I'll just walk you through what I did. So I used dark blue for the nose, the soles of his feet, and his claws. And then I used the light blue for the center of his chest, as you see right there. And I'm using the regular blue crayon, just the one that's called blue, to sort of fill in everything else. So around his foot, his body, I'm using the light blue crayon for just around his huge eyeballs. And then for the rest of his head, I'm just using the regular blue crayon, just to fill everything else in. And then I'm going to use that same crayon for his ears. I'm just coloring in a little darker for those parts. And then lastly, pink to fill in the insides of his ears. And that's it. Thank you all so much for drawing Stitch with me today. I had a blast. I mean, look at this guy. He is so stinking cute. And I hope you all had a blast too.